Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, please subscribe and follow along. Talk about kind of a little bit of everything: dating, health, personal growth, and how I am approaching my 30s. Well, I'm kind of a year into my 30s, but I feel like I'm just starting to be the person I want to be. I wanted to make this video because I haven't tapped into the full version of me. At work, one of my biggest struggles is speaking up, and I have gotten the feedback of being more assertive and, again, just being more vocal and seen, and that is so difficult for me. Come here. Okay, nice, bye. Hold on, let me check out what. Define assertive. Okay, the definition of assertive: having or showing a confident and forceful personality. Those are two things that I would not describe myself as: confident or forceful. Alright, change of scene, because a bit of change. I had a really great conversation with one of my best friends, and we talk about this pretty often, and we were talking about it the other day, and I was like, that's so funny that we're talking about this, because it's kind of what I was talking about in this video I was putting together. And as we were talking, I was like, dang it, I really did the thing where I was falling into this pattern of I need to change who I am to fit this like narrative, versus I am who I am, and I should really lean into being confident in that instead of like trying to fit into a box that wasn't made for me. So what I mean by that is, we talked about the definition of being assertive, and that word has come up quite a bit in my work life, and also a bit in my not work life. So this concept of being assertive, which if we take the two things apart, I think there's some things that I can do better, and there's some things that like really just aren't me. The piece that I really want to focus and grow in is confidence. The confidence in being me, who I am as I am, and being like okay with how I show up in the world, right? And how I show up is more of an introverted person. If there's more than 2 or 3 people in a conversation, you will see me in a corner just like nodding my head and listening and taking it in and not really adding to the conversation. But if it's just a few of us, like, I can hang. I can have a great one-on-one conversation. Once there's like too many people in the conversation, I've come to realize over the years, I'm just a slow processor. There was a point where one of my old managers told me, you know, you have this like deer in headlights look a lot, and couldn't be more accurate, because usually when people like come and ask me something, or, you know, like put me on the spot, I'm just like, oh, it's a fight or flight mode kicking in, and I don't fight or flight, I just freeze. And it's because I'm trying to process what you've asked me. I don't have the information top of mind. Give me a moment and I probably do have the answer, but it's just gonna take me a minute to get there. And this idea of being quick, tell me this, not great at it. Even icebreakers give me agita. Anything where it's, oh, we're just gonna put you on the spot or call you out, I'm just like, please don't do that to me. I've come to learn that that is my personality, is I do need a minute to just think things over before I can get there. And I haven't been super great at vocalizing that ahead of time to be like, it's not that I don't know, or that it's not that I'm not participating or want to be involved in this conversation. I just need a minute to figure out what I want to say and my perspective. Being soft-spoken, I feel like that comes off as weakness a lot of the time. Like you're not overly confident, and for me there is a level of lack of confidence. But I feel like a lot of other introverts I know, it's not the lack of confidence, it's just how they speak. They're just more soft-spoken, but they are confident and they do know what they're coming in with. And I mean, I know from experience, there's been plenty of times where I've, said something or led meetings and somebody else comes in and says the same thing, but they kind of come in more forceful or louder. It's just like, in reality, I have not said anything different, but because of the way that someone says something, they are taken more seriously. And I think that is a part of the issue, right? Is there is this idea of what a successful person looks like, and often it's somebody who is kind of fearless and is able to speak clearly and eloquently and in front of people and in masses and always have the right answer. Yes, that's one level of success and one version of a person who is confident, but that does not take away from people who have different personalities. Just because I might not be the quickest person in the room or the loudest person in the room doesn't mean that I don't bring the same value to the table or that I don't have my own unique perspective. And that is something that I think is more important, is to really be confident in what your perspective is, and whatever way you communicate that, as long as it's coming from a place of authenticity, I think that's what matters. So my shift from my original video was I was really leaning into this idea of like, I should become more assertive because that is the expectation of success, is to be seen and heard and in front of, literally in front of people's faces. And like for me, this is one of the ways that I'm working on my confidence, not assertion, is being comfortable with just speaking. Because I do have anxiety around speaking up, and I could definitely work on my confidence in what my point of view is. But I also feel like my personality is one of the things that's helped me become successful. Not too long ago, somebody I worked with told me, you have a really disarming personality. Let's use that to basically, why don't you ask these things, because it'll probably come off not forceful, if you will, not assertive. People will be more receptive to you. And that is true, and that's something that has worked in my advantage. As someone who is not assertive, people do feel more comfortable with me because hopefully not that they can always talk over me or walk all over me, but it's almost like a safety net. I don't come off scary. Scary? I don't know. So I feel like I've been able to build good relationships with people because people feel comfortable around me. Overall, I'm a great collaborator, given I have the tools that I need and feel like I'm in a safe spot. It really, for me, is not moving from being this introverted person to being more assertive, but becoming more confident in the skill sets that I do have and being more prepared. I feel like I could be more prepared in scenarios to have something to say in a work setting, because I feel like with work I kind of flail because I don't have things ready to go, but knowing my personality, if I'm more prepared, then I can speak more confidently about things that I know, and I don't need to be like, I need to figure that out, even though once I take a second to think about it, I know I'll have the answer. So it's really setting myself up for success to lean into that side. Whereas my personal life, I'm still introverted, but I feel like I'm more open to speaking up, especially with people I know really well. And when I'm traveling, I have no problem asking Uber drivers or people that I see at stores or restaurants for their local recommendations. On that side of the spectrum, it's much easier for me to not be assertive, but be more social. I think it's important to lean into your personality because the spectrum of personalities are all valuable. If everybody was extroverted, I feel like the world would be kind of chaotic, to be honest. If everybody was speaking over each other and trying to be more assertive, it would be insane. And introverts kind of level things out, you know? And sometimes it's really on people who are speaking up more often and louder and being assertive to take a beat. Sometimes introverted people just can't get a word in because everybody else has something to say. And you know, to really listen sometimes, because I feel like we can all learn from each other. The same way that we struggle, I know I see my friends who are more extroverted and outgoing, and I'm like, they're so good at this, I don't know how they do it. I'll have conversations with them and they have anxiety and they have their own struggles. So it's not like any one person, one type of personality has it all figured out. Like, we're all navigating this space. And I really wanted to kind of come in and reshift my perspective and my narrative that it is not about changing who you are, but leaning into who you are. So regardless of if you're introverted or extroverted or somewhere in between, you add value to every situation you're in. Lean into who you are and don't feel like you need to change because of society's expectations, because let's be real, society is also constantly changing. So there is no right way to do life. Wow. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. I'd love to know in the comments, do you consider yourself introverted or extroverted? And what is your perception of the other? What would you like someone of the other personality type to know about you? Alrighty guys, that's it for today. Thank you.
Maybe it's too soon, yeah, you know we just met. What I got to lose, gonna send the address.